I call it digital tyranny. That's what it's about. Register you digitally, and then they'll be able to control where you're allowed to go, or where you're told to go, or restrict your movements on an individual basis. So it'd be like digital apartheid, in my view.
Overarching thing is the lack of the truth and people being aware that we've got corrupt governments that can do things like put Julian in prison with no legal reason, and the same with this. They can put out these vaccines with no, they've already got the law, so you're supposed to not be able to go back. Of course you can, because it's human rights. They can't just kill us.
That's exactly right. That's the link. It's human rights. Exactly. That's the link. And Julian's denied his human rights, and we've been denied our human rights. Because we have the right to move, and we have the right not for informed consent from any medical treatment. They're human rights.
Well, we're under house arrest, effectively.
Yes.
That's exactly right. It's medical martial law, and it's basically all under the auspices about health, but was the least bit to do with health. They'd be worrying about the tens and tens of thousands of people that die from heart disease and diabetes and all these other diseases, which are fairly easily, they're fairly well preventable.
And people are awake up to it. And that people, because their lives are being affected, are prepared to get off their bums and get out on the street and protest. And what's been happening in France, I find particularly encouraging. The French are the inveterate protesters. The French are famous for the French Revolution, and they've always been strong protesters. And that latest post you put up with the French police putting their shields on the ground in an act of support for the protests, I thought is very encouraging, because this is sending a message to these people that are trying to take control of us that we're not going to take it lying down, that we are going to stand up. And this worldwide protest today, with countless millions of people around the world, are an indication that people don't care about Julian Assange, but they sure as hell care about their own freedom. And ultimately, by by exposing this corruption at that level, will save Julian ultimately, I believe.
Well, how many suicides later when people lose their house and their business? And I saw a story this morning from someone who's a friend, said the father of the family committed suicide because he went broke, couldn't, lost the house, lost the business, lost everything. The bank was going to go in and sell the house up next week, so he committed suicide. And then a day or so later, his wife committed suicide and left him with two kids about 10 and 12 years old, orphan. That's the tip of the iceberg. The amount of people that are going to suicide. And to be honest with you, Tony, it works both ways. I think the great masses of people worried about their business, their freedom and their rights, basically they're looking at bankruptcy and losing their house and losing everything that they've worked for all their life. So I don't think that's so much about them caring about human rights quite yet.
It's not the principle of the matter that's going to drive people. It's the practicality of the matter. And it's that basic fundamental practicality that's going to drive people to rebel against this.
And I think it will also drive them to be better informed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Once they smell a rat, they're going to start to look into what's behind the rat.
I think we've got to get the people on our side. And that is, if we talk about Julian without talking about what really is going on, we're just marginalizing him into something that's not really part of the everyday world. And it is very important, this stuff. And we feel motivated to do it. Whereas when it's hard now just because we've been over, we know there's an appeal and all that. It's sort of demoralizing stuff, but I think we've just got to relate it to what we're doing. So one thing I think is every step of the way with Julian, it's been make it difficult. The officials are making it difficult for Julian, for all of us. And this is no different. Everything is the exact opposite of what it should be.
Yeah.
Propaganda, it's called.
The important thing is the point Steve's made is that the link to Assange is it's about freedom of speech, freedom. It's about our freedoms and natural, some semblance of sensible justice, and that's the link between what's going on now and Julian. So how do we incorporate that? I don't know, Steve, how it sounds like a bit of a muddy marketing cell.
I got an email personally from what's his name, the member for Wentworth,
Sharma.
within a couple of hours of me sending an email to him, and that was a personal email.
Wow.
I did 7 of them, and 2 of them I left messages on answer phones. The others, so basically I got a good hearing, and I said, well, would you be kind enough to pass it along to your member, your boss? And they all said they would, and they will. So there's no way you're going to get a message to with writing. That'll just get thrown in the pile, or they'll get somewhere down the line they'll send a standard response like this, which is basically the same story I've had 3 or 4 times now. Mm-hmm. And Civil Liberties is sending letters to Albo, to Morrison, and Payne, with very, very good arguments for why the government should do something. But no doubt they'll get exactly the same.
Our first politician was very, very interested. She desperately wants to get on board.
Okay, well then invite her to our next Saturday Zoom meeting. We have this Saturday.
Okay.
I say we've all got to ring up politicians, that's all, and post on the internet and send letters, and that's about the best we can do at the minute.
Over the last 10 years, we've slowly got the truth out, and now the truth is out. There's not a shred of evidence that Julian has done anything wrong, that he's...
I don't know if you guys know about it, but there's a lovely little trick they've got in the American legal system where they pick some guy up for something or other, and they take him in and saying, oh, we can charge you with this and this and this, and you're up for the death penalty, or you can just confess to this and you'll only get 10 years or something. So they put him in a position where basically they blackmail them into signing a confession, even if they're innocent, because otherwise, it's just these plea bargains and things. I find the whole notion of that horrific.
Yeah.
That Higson Lane picture of Julian's portrait on the roller shutter.
Yes.
I put that, as soon as you sent it to me, I put that on Facebook. And the last time I looked, which was just before we came on air here, there were 97 shares.
Wow.
How many days? It's only a handful of days, and it's been shared all around the world 97 times.
Wow.
That is such a good image. And I put the link to the Google, the Google Maps, so that people in Melbourne can go and find it and take photos next to it. I'm hoping to make that, because it's such a pretty picture.
Yes, it's a pretty building, beautiful building.
Are you aware of this picture I'm talking about, Steve? You probably haven't seen it.
So is it on the Julian Assange Town Hall Gathering page?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
Emma sent me that picture this week, and I immediately put it up on Facebook, and it's just gone wild. For some reason, people love that picture. If we've got a roller shutter somewhere,
yes.
If we've got a roller shutter somewhere, he'll do that.
Yep.
We need to think outside. We need to think outside the box and find somewhere where we can get Max to do a thing like that. It's not a spot that many people are going to see.
Yes, exactly.
But with social media, we can make sure the world sees it,
Yes.
So we don't actually need a really, what do you call it? A really exposed location. All we need to do is just flog the shit out of it
Well, and also if you can get one place and then you can put it on social media, that's a way to advertise for someone else with a place.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I should send out a call on Facebook to see if anybody's got a wall.
Good.
Yeah, good idea.
Okay.
Good idea, and show them that.
And on email too. And on email.
Yes.
And
I'll use that photo as the cover photo for the post.
Yep. You've got a really good idea on your lap.
Oh, this
Kitty,
thing.
Kitty, yes.
This
If we could get her to, like, the whole internet is filled with cute, cuddly animals.
People watch cat videos more than porn on the internet.
Yes. So what about we dress her up? You know, like people dress cats up.
Yeah,
and
like Julian used to in the embassy.
Yes, exactly. But we have a Julian theme. Have that Julian theme, and we can put her on. Now, there's going to be a lot of likes or shares if we do something like that.
Yeah.
The member for Lismore, she was really into it. She was really involved. So it might be worth giving her a call or giving her a staff a call and asking her, what can we do?
Yep. Diane is organising a Zoom meeting with Mark Buttigieg, who's a state Labor, but quite well connected with the Labor Party. And he was at the meeting that Diane and Adriana and I had with Bob Carr.
That's right. Yeah.
And at that meeting, I made the point. I said to Mark, I think Bob got taken out of the room at some point, and there was a bit of a gap in the discussions. And I just turned to Mark, who was sitting beside me, and I said, why the hell don't Labor get on board with Julian? They could win the next election, the next federal election, if they get on board. And he just dismissed it. He said, no way in the wide world. We're too close to Washington, and we'd expose ourselves to all sort of criticism on public, on national security grounds, blah, 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 blah. And he had all the excuses why there's no way the Labor Party would come out in support of Julian Assange. Well, since then, they've actually shifted their position. And he wants to have another meeting this coming week.
Yeah. Diane's kept me updated with that.
Yeah. And John Shipton also wants to be at that meeting.
Yes. I think Adriana spoke to John because she's good friends with John Shipton.
I think John Shipton wants to come in on this meeting with Mark because I'm getting the message particularly from Stella, that, they're saying now that it's more about putting pressure on politicians because the politicians can all see that, there's no legs in this case with America, that at the end of the day, the case, the American case will fail. It can't succeed. So rather than sort of drag this out, which will happen for a decade, the latest I heard that even if America allowed him to serve out, I heard Stella say, to serve out his time in Australia, it'll be 10 years before he exhausts the British legal system and he exhausts the American legal system. That's a 10-year time frame. So that means he's had 20 years in confinement. So it's really important now that I believe, which is sort of a change of heart for me, to acknowledge that it's time, as Billy is pushing us to do, to put the pressure on the politicians, including the politicians that we haven't got a snowflake's chance in hell, the Dave Sharmas and so forth. We still got to put the pressure on them. And it's really a lovely idea to put the pressure on their staff, because their staff are not as committed to the, you know, the deep state or whatever you want to call it, as the politician is. So, you know, by putting pressure on the staff member, you're indirectly putting pressure on the member. And I've always been inclined towards the awareness raising rather than the pressure on politicians. I don't like badgering politicians that are not in tune with what we're doing, or, you know, complicit with the illegal behaviour of other politicians. But I'm inclined, Billy's been pushing this idea of, he's put together a list of swinging voters, swinging electorates. And
marginal seats.
Marginal seats, right. And the idea is that you ring them. You don't write to them, you ring them, and you talk to the personal assistant or the office person or whoever it is, and you win them over, and then you try and sort of get on to the member. But the idea is they're going to be more receptive because, you know, they might be in with a 1.5% margin, so that, you know, potentially Julian Assange can win or lose the election for them. So they're going to listen to us more acutely. So that's one line that Billy's been pushing that I'm inclined to agree with.
I do too. I think that's a good strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially marginal seats where it could make or break them.
Absolutely. And
I think if we point out that, I know Alan Jones isn't my most favourite person in the world, but he had that poll where, was it over 74% of people thought that the government should do something.
And that was a year ago.
Last year. Yeah.
What was that 74% of people, sorry?
Wanted the government to intervene and support Julian.
Wow.
And it was due to be up for, I think, 6 days. And at the end of day one, I found out about it and I logged on and gave my vote in support of Julian. And they had a running average. And when I did it was about 75% in favour of Julian. And I thought, wow, that's good news. And then mysteriously, it just disappeared.
Yes,
and
that's correct. Yeah. Yep.
Like at the end of day one, it was gone.
But I think if we point that out, that they know that the majority of people are in support of Julian, it's going to strengthen our message. I do agree with Billy. Ringing the politicians in marginal seats is a great idea. I'd like to, once we're out of this lockdown, go and visit more politicians, those who are supportive, to thank them, and those who aren't, to remind them how popular Julian was in that poll, and just remind them that he's an Australian. He won his court case. He should be out. Why is he in prison? He won his court case. So I think we need to remind them that we're still here and we're not going away.
Another good idea that a friend of mine that's outside of our group altogether, right? He's just come on board. I've convinced him about Julian Assange, and he believes what we should do is do a QR code of some really fabulous Julian Assange thing or a COVID thing. But, you know, if it's a fabulous YouTube clip or, you know, something that really captures it, we should be printing that QR code onto a sticker and just sticking that round, because nowadays everybody is so au fait with QR codes. But nowadays, because of COVID, we all know how a QR code works.
Yes.
A printed QR code can be another really powerful tool, I reckon. That's another one to think about in terms of spreading the message. But, you know, a picture of Julian with the words "Free Julian Assange" is gold, you know.
Yes.
It's like "Free Nelson Mandela," you know.
Yes, exactly.
It's a repetitive thing, you know, free FJA.
I like the hero thing too. I love that. Hero.
Yeah,
I think it's great too. But it's good to have his name, because not everyone recognises him. We do instantly, but not everyone will. So
And in fact, the other thing that he pointed out, he hadn't seen all the images of Julian, and he reckons the image of Julian's face with the flag over it is the picture that tells 1,000 stories. And it's particularly powerful now because we're all wearing masks. So it says that image of Julian with the flag on his face is saying more than just Julian's being gagged. It's also saying we're all being gagged, you know, we're all Julian, we're all being gagged, you know.
That's brilliant. That's very good. That's brilliant. I think that's a really good one.
So I implore you all to peddle that image, dig up that image of Julian with the flag over his mouth, and let's get that out there too. But I'm also suggesting that we all put this image on our social media accounts.
Yes.
Not forget the power of, like, for example, I just put a picture of Julian with the gag, just like that much of his face with the gag on my Instagram account. And I immediately got people liking it and loving it. It's such a powerful image, and it brings up their frustration over COVID. I reckon it's linking straight to that COVID frustration. It's tying Julian to COVID. Try it yourself. Just put the image. Don't put any words with it. Just put that on. Just put that on your social media.
I think that's all we need.
Yeah,
that's all we need.
Yeah,
because look, everybody knows who Julian Assange. When you show people the picture, they go, "Of course." Is that colour? Yes, that one.
It is colour. And I gave it to a whole heap of people and said, put it on your phone. So they put it on their phones and just put them, and someone put them all along the Harbour Bridge and all sorts of places.
But don't forget to put it on your Twitter account. Just put the
It's a great image.
Because
that's fantastic.
We've all been doing this for so long, we've forgotten how powerful that image is, you know. And when I look back through all my pictures of Julian Assange, I didn't have that image. I don't have that image on any, I've never put it on any of my advertising. I've never put on any Facebook. I thought that's the best single image of Julian there is, and yet I haven't been using it. You know, I can't see the trees for the forest. And it took this friend.
And what that line in the David Rovick's song,
"The Solution" by The Crown, a 24-hour-a-day lockdown.
24-hour-a-day lockdown. So that could be a good one, good caption to go with it.
I'm inclined to think social media is more powerful than the physical stickers. The physical stickers, you know, when you put something on social media, it's got the potential to go worldwide, you know. It's a much more, it's much, you know, a sticker is a very analog thing, you know, it's a very 20th century thing.
But it's good to have the two meanings. So because people don't want to be locked down anymore.
And
we can get Julian in on
it. Oh, he's gorgeous.
Where's my cat?
Gorgeous.
It's the captain.
It's time.
What's his name, Steve? What's his name?
Is it Captain?
Captain.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. Our physical addresses might be a good thing that we do exchange, because at some point the internet may not be with us, and if we want to send things, if we want to contact people, like, I don't know, the telephone might not, you know, there's lots of things that are weird at the moment. So I think
Stephen, I've been thinking that for about a year. I can see them because absolutely just stifling.
Yep.
A lot of people I follow who are supporters of Julian Assange, they've stopped their PayPal, they've stopped their YouTube accounts. I can see it going full bore.
Yep.
Where they're just going to only allow us see what they want us to see.
Yes.
And it wouldn't be that hard for the government to take control.
Yeah.
It worries me.
And we need to use cash as much as possible.
We are all Assange.